This is Gareth Southgate, and this is the Three Lions podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Three Lions podcast. My name is Russell Osborne and thank you for joining us. This is an England supporters podcast. Now I hope you're well and coping with the current situation we find ourselves in. I myself, I'm stuck at home trying to come up with ways of entertaining, educating my daughter, whilst my wife is out at work as a key worker. So, can I take this opportunity to give a big thank you to you if you are doing your part keeping this country moving. Be you an NHS worker, a postman, refuse collector, work in a bank, teacher, or one of the many other key workers. It's not until you realise what people actually do you realise how big a part we all play in this. Likewise, if you're at home, like me, you're playing your part too, just keeping your distance. Now, this episode is another in our Your First England Away Trip series. Already, we've been to Greece and France. This time, we're off to Germany. Yes, for that one. And David Bedlow is going to tell us all about it. I'd like to welcome to the Three Lions podcast as we carry on our series of Your First England Away Trip. From Derby, Dave Bedlow. Hello there, Dave.
Hi, Russ. Nice to be talking to you.
Oh, thank you for coming on. Keeping well, I hope?
Yeah, surviving. I get a bit stir-crazy, but I think that's the case for everybody.
We all know how you feel. We're all in that same boat. But hopefully little things like this will just give people a little bit of time to get those memory banks going and just think about some positive and some happy times. And Your first England away game is very much a happy one. Go on, just before we get on to finding a little bit about yourself, go on, tell us this game.
Well, I was fortunate enough that the first England away game I went to was the 5-1 win in Munich. So, I think it's fair to say that it's never been beaten since either.
Oh, it's amazing. When I first started doing this series, I thought, someone will have had this game as their first England away trip. And I thought, I wonder how long it'll take for someone to put their hand up and say, it was me, can I say about it? So, thank you very much for coming on.
I get a lot of questions about how did it manage to become a first away game. So I'll probably cover that as we go through the interview.
Yeah, let's do that in a moment. But just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm 48. I'm a Derby County fan. I have supported the club since the first game I went to was 1979. I've had a season ticket continuously at the club since 1986. Went to my first England game in 1990, which was against Brazil at Wembley, the one that Gary Lineker fluffed the penalty. And had he scored that, eventually would have, at that time, been England's record goal scorer. I started going to all the home games and then eventually decided to join the England Travel Club. And I've gone to quite a few away games ever since.
Great stuff. So you say you were a travel club member at the time of this game?
Yeah, what I did was I joined, I think it was called something different in them days, like the England Travel Club, the England Members Club. It had a different name. And I think what happened was the very first game I was intending to go to was, I believe, if memory serves me right, we played Greece right at the end of a season, a sort of June game, right in Athens. And
that was my first away game.
Wow, I think I've got the timelines right with that. That was the same.
Yeah, it'd be around. Yes, it was part of the same qualifying campaign.
And I think what happened was they did similar to they do now, which is the cap situation, but then also to encourage new people, there was a chance of getting a ticket for whatever percentage of fans. I didn't get one for the Greece game than I did for the Germany game.
Right. So the game was Saturday, the 1st of September, 2001. I personally remember where I was. I was watching this one on I think it was a small 14-inch TV in a tiny bar in Malaga. I'm sure it was Malaga. It was on a lad's holiday.
Yeah.
But yes, certainly watching it there, jumping around with a fair few beers. I can't imagine what it would have been like to have been there. But yes, go on. Let's start at the very beginning.
Right.
How did this all come about?
Yeah, so we there was 3 of us applied, and we were all in the same boat where we'd not been before. We all joined the travel club at the same time, and all got tickets. And none of us had thought we'd ever got a chance. So we actually hadn't organised any transport. And the only way we could get there was a company who were doing an overnight bus tour. And so we did that. We went down to Birmingham. I remember we all met at this really dodgy pub that had tables and chairs all sort of not nailed, but almost like attached to the floor. And I thought, right, this is a bit of a dodgy place. This was our meeting place. And we got on this coach, and it was sort of an overnight. We went through France and Germany, and yeah, we were absolutely knackered by the time we got to Munich. It's very hard to try and sleep on a coach, but yeah, that was how we did it.
Do you remember how much your ticket was?
I don't, but I know that I bought something. There was a company, I don't know if they're still even going now, they're called I Was There. What they do is you send your ticket for any game you've been to, and they frame it with a picture that's iconic of the event you've been to, and they send it back to you. And my ticket is in that I Was There frame, but it's in my memorabilia. So it took me a while to go and try and find it somewhere. But I don't remember it being particularly expensive. But then go away games sometimes with England are really cheap because other countries don't charge very much.
You'd obviously got your coach down there. Do you plan to stay the night, or was it literally just
it was a
get
turnaround
to the game?
Yeah, it was a turnaround. The trip was a you go there. I think we arrived in Munich early afternoon, and we literally, as the game finished, the coach was outside, and the coach brought us back straight after the game.
Well, it really was sort of get in and get out, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It's just because there was literally no other way, because we left it so late. We never thought, hope in hell we get tickets. So yeah, we just had to get there by hook or by crook, really.
What was the atmosphere before the game like? Because the Germans had never been beaten in a World Cup qualifier on home soil before, so they must have been really confident. And obviously they'd beaten us at Wembley in the qualifying group. Did you get the impression they thought that this was a foregone conclusion from them? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, one thing we did that day, and we've done it quite a lot whenever we've gone to away games before, is just try and sample something that's, to do with the country or the culture, and particularly if it's food, go somewhere you probably wouldn't go if you were in England. And we deliberately went to this German restaurant. I think us 3 were the only English people in there. And that's what people were saying. They were saying, we expect to turn you over. They were very, very confident. I can't say I was confident, really. It was more about the experience. And certainly when we were 1-0 down very early on, you sort of feared the worst. But then obviously it all became a dream.
What do you remember about the ground? Because it's one of those grounds that's quite iconic, isn't it? Was it the 1972, 74 Olympics, whatever one it was?
Yeah, I remember it being an old fashioned, an Olympic bowl, and I think I remember seeing it on television because our arch rivals one of their European Cups playing in that stadium.
Of course, yes.
It might have been the game against Malmo. They don't mention it very often. So I remember it being a very sort of old fashioned, concrete block type stadium, and it had these sort of structures around it that looked like it was holding the stadium up, but I don't think it was. More decorative than anything, but yeah, it was quite iconic. If you saw a picture of it from that era, you knew what stadium you were looking at.
Yeah, it's the Olympic Stadion in Munich. Yeah. So there were a fair few England supporters there. I mean, I remember at the time seeing a lot of England fans in the crowd, and I've watched the game since, and I've just for this particular interview just recapped on the highlights. There was a big bulk of England fans behind one of the goals, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was incredible. The atmosphere was amazing. There's loads of little things I remember about the game that stuck with me for years, and I think one I remember how crazy everybody went when Gerrard hit the goal just before half time that put us 2-1 up, because that was our end. So there's loads of things that were not just about the game. I remember very bizarre at the end of the match. They started playing "Going Loco Down in Acapulco" was the song they were playing, and there's thousands of England fans congering in the away end to it. It was very surreal.
I mean, it was Carsten Janker, wasn't it, who got that first goal?
Yeah, big strapping, bald-headed, yes, forward. Yeah,
he's got, not really the sort of the vision of a German striker that you really have. I don't think, Carsten Janker.
No, there was another who was very similar at the time. I remember. I think it was Jan Koller, the Czech player. He was a very similar looking and build type of player, but yeah, he certainly wasn't a Klinsmann or a Podolski. No.
It was pretty early. It was 5 or 6 minutes in.
Nurbil to Janker! It's a goal for Germany! And it's Carsten Janker! Only 6 minutes gone.
And then Michael Owen. It was your end, wasn't it? Where it was our end. Equalised.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the goals in the order. I think this was the one. There was like a hooked cross that seemed to go behind everybody outside the box, and it was lifted back in. And I think there was a bit of a mix-up at the back. You know, Michael Owen just pounced with it and scored.
Campbell getting in first. Now it's come all the way back to Neville. Now are they offside? No, they're not. There's a chance of an equaliser here, and they've done it. Michael Owen yet again for England. It's the Germans' turn to stand like statues.
He ran over to the advertising hoardings, right? I guess probably in direct line with all the England fans.
It was, yeah, it was right in front of us. As was the goal from Steven Gerrard at half time.
That's right, because it was pretty much bang on half time. Beckham had a hand in the first Owen goal and putting in a free kick, and he actually sort of started the whole movement for Gerrard's goal. He put another free kick in that was going in and around, and it really was a cracking shot from Gerrard, wasn't it? One on the chest and then straight through.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if the TV angles have ever shown it at the angle obviously we got from behind the goal, but he actually put quite a lot of sort of fade on the shot. So when he hit it to start with, it was actually going slightly wide of the post, and it curved back in perfectly at the last minute to nestle in the bottom corner, which if they show you from behind the goal, you would get that perspective. But I think I've only ever seen it on television looking at it from the right hand side, and I don't think you get that same perspective of how good a shot it was.
I see.
Gerrard. Oh, it's hit in, yes! Gerrard's shot was deflected, but it's 2-1 England! A smiling Sven and a jubilant English end of the stadium, right on half time.
They always say score just before half time. Yeah. Could you foresee what was going to happen in that second half based on that sort of the impetus of scoring bang on half time? What was the feeling in the England fans?
It was party atmosphere at half time. It was probably I've never experienced a half time before or since like it. It was and the numbers made it. There were so many people there.
Yeah.
And if memory serves me right, they had two boxes situated in the away end where the TV were being done, and I think Gary Lineker was in one, maybe doing BBC, and I think Alan Shearer was in one, maybe doing something else. And half time, I just remember everybody singing at Gary Lineker and at Alan Shearer. But I think if you to ask most people at half time, you'd have said, well, the Germans are going to come probably a bit of an onslaught second half, and if we can manage to stay at 2-1, or even if they score and we manage to 2-2, it's a phenomenal result. But to see it end up being 5-1, I don't think anybody would have ever dreamt that.
No, I don't know what the odds would have been on a 5-1 result like that.
Well, I do like having a flutter. I would have guessed a 5-1 away win against the side as strong as that. You'd be probably looking at 125, 150 to 1.
Cool. I'd have a pound on that one.
Yeah.
That was Gerrard's first England goal, actually, and it was Michael Owen's first hat-trick for England that he scored. I don't know how many hat-tricks he actually scored for England, but that was his first one.
Oh, right. I wasn't aware it was his first one, but I suppose he was still in his infancy of his England career, wasn't he, there?
So England came out second half. Sven had obviously said what he needed to say at half-time. That was actually Sven's 7th game in charge. Owen scored his 2nd and England's 3rd, and that was obviously at the other end of where you were standing. What do you remember about that one? Because that was early in the second half, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which of the 2 Owen goals came first. One of them I remember he hit low and hard, and the other one he hit, you'd sort of say, at a good height for the goalkeeper, but the goalkeeper seemed to be diving the wrong way, and he flailed an arm out and it sort of went through, and I'm trying to think which one came first out of the 2.
Yeah, so I think it was that one where he's put almost like a bit of a spin on the ball, and Khan has gone down, put his hand out, but his body's almost going the other way.
The way, yeah.
Yes.
And I remember...
On the half volley.
Now can he finish? Heskey. Oh, heads it down. Owen again. And England have gone into a 3-1 lead here in Munich. Michael Owen gets his 2nd of the match. Oh, fantastic stuff.
And I think, I'm not sure if it was the first of Owen's second half goals or the second one, but he did I remember him doing a cartwheel in the corner, right in front of their fans, right at the far end.
Yeah, that was his 3rd goal where he's done like a little celebration flip.
Yeah.
I mean, to go from 3-1 to 4-1, that must have been just ecstasy in that England end.
Oh, Owen's through again for England. What a chance for the hat-trick here. Owen! Oh, this is getting better and better and better. 1, 2, 3 for Michael Owen. England lead 4-1 in Germany.
Well, it became almost... I think when it got to 4, everyone started to get a bit greedy, and we seemed as though we could score every time we attacked. I think I've never ever looked at the match stats, but I don't think if you went on the stats, it was a 5-1 game, as in, we had 80% possession and 15 shots. And I think what we just did is every time we broke and attacked, we looked like we'd score. And obviously the bit of a unfair, I suppose, joke was, 5-1 even Heskey scored.
Did that happen on the day that people started saying that 5-1 even Heskey scored, or did that come sort of later on?
I can't remember if it did happen on the day or not, to be honest. I can't remember if it was something that just became a bit of folklore afterwards. I genuinely can't remember.
Beckham, Scholes again now. Heskey's to his left unmarked. Emil Heskey, could it be 5? Yes, it is! Listen to this. Germany 1, England 5.
So Heskey, as you say, scored that 5th and final goal. It was a little combination between Scholes and Beckham, and passed it through to Heskey to run onto it and just slipped it under Khan. And we said about Michael Owen done his little celebratory cartwheel. Do you remember Emil Heskey's celebration?
Yeah, I think Heskey used to do that, almost like playing a turntable celebration, if memory serves me right. So it was like a DJ.
Yeah, he did do that one, but this one he actually pretended to play golf.
Oh, he did. You're right. He did. I do remember that. Like, you said it.
It was like putting the ball.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Yeah. Don't know what that was for. No, I don't think I've ever realised what the reference was.
Unless he just said he slotted it in. I'm not quite sure. I remember at the time you couldn't tell whether you'd seen it since. It almost got a little bit stuck under Heskey's feet, and he had to sort of dig it out in the end. But it went to the back of the net, and that's all that mattered.
That's right. The Germans, there was 63,000 in attendance there, the ground, the Olympic Stadium. It was getting pretty empty, wasn't it, by that time? Yeah,
it's one of the sights I can remember is the swathes of people who left at the 4th goal and then the 5th goal. And I think one of the things I do remember about the fact that when people did start to leave, you also noticed there were little pockets of England fans that were in the German end that you didn't notice at the time, but you noticed because there was not many Germans left around.
Right.
So, yeah, you know what it's like when you see England away. There's always pockets of England fans in areas that are supposed to be for home fans, and yeah, you could see them sort of dancing and singing, probably in that corner where Owen celebrated.
Right. Yes.
The two things I remember our post match was as I mentioned about the going loco in Acapulco was so surreal, seeing all these crazy England fans just dancing around like they were at a wedding. But the other
That's
thing
the Four Tops, isn't it?
Probably, yeah, going like, yeah, it probably is, yeah, going like in Acapulco. Yeah, if it's not them, it's the Drifters or somebody like that.
Trying to get the reference between playing that.
It was just, I don't know. It was the end of the game, and for some bizarre reason, that's what the German speaker system decided to play as the song finishing at the end of the game. It was no reference to anything. It was, but it obviously got everybody singing and dancing in England, which was very surreal. But the other thing I do remember, because we went by coach when we arrived back at Folkestone. It was obviously it was the days before you had all your news on the internet, so you still bought newspapers. And one of the things I remember was going into the service station news agents, and I literally bought every single newspaper just for the back page.
Amazing.
8 newspapers, all with the similar iconic 5-1 scoreboard picture, but all with different headlines and everything. But yeah, I bought every single one of them.
Yeah, I mean that picture. I mean, whoever took the picture or just different angles of it, they really got it spot on, because, as you say, is the old-fashioned scoreboard in the background, but just in front of it is just waves and waves of England fans with England flags.
I think there's 3 or 4 different variations of the same photo, just took from different angles. But the pub I go to before home matches, which is a staunch Derby pub, has got one of the iconic versions in it, and smack bang in the middle of it is a Derby County flag, and 2 of the guys holding that we know from Derby and England games. So that's quite a nice bit of memorabilia in the pub. That.
Oh, excellent. I mean, can you pick yourself out in the pictures?
No, I wasn't where that flag was. The flag is quite close to the front. I remember that I was probably 75-80% of the way back behind the scoreboard. So from any pictures from the side of the pitch, you wouldn't have been able to pick anybody out at the distance we were at.
I see. There's pretty much a game, I think, that sealed our qualification to the World Cup, Japan and Korea, because I don't think Germany could catch us then. I may be wrong, but did you then go to any more England away games immediately? Did you set your sights on the World Cup?
I was never going to go out to the World Cup. I do remember a lot about that World Cup, because the games were all being played at in England, very, very odd times, and our pub we go to for home matches, which is a big football pub, would have sort of lock-ins before the official time. It was allowed to be open so that we could watch games in there. I remember watching the Argentina game, which I think kicked off about 7 in the morning, when the one where Beckham scored the penalty, and it was sort of like 11 o'clock when the pub actually officially opened. Sort of, halfway on your way, and then passing by would look and think, the pub's just open. How can there be 150 people in there? And the days before the smoking ban as well, so the doors would open and smoke would billow out everywhere. That's sort of my abiding memory of the Japan South Korea. So I never went to that World Cup, but I went to the following one, which, if memory serves me right, was in Germany.
Yes,
2006.
So you say you put this up as probably the best England away trip you've been, or is there any others that sort of just run it close?
It's without doubt the best one. And I think one of the things I remember saying to one of my mates as we came out of the ground was, the only sad thing about this is, no matter how long we live, we'll probably never have a day that beats this. And certainly from international football, I never have. One of my mates is a Man City fan, and he puts the Aguero moment up there, obviously, because it's the last-minute winner to win the league. But I think for me, I can't think of any that I've been to that have been anywhere near that. I think possibly if you're talking about atmosphere, the closest had probably been was actually last year or whenever it was last year before, the first half against Spain in the Nations League.
Yes, in Seville.
Yeah, when we went 3-0 up, and again, it was one of those games where it looked like every single time we went forward, we looked like we score. But that had a similar type of atmosphere to the Germany game.
I see.
I remember that day and night very, very vividly.
Oh, yeah. Wish I was there. That's some great memories there, and thank you very much for sharing them, David. It was the
welcome.
Germany 1, England 5 game, your first England away trip. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. Cheers to Dave for his time there. Now you can follow him on Twitter at Bedders1971. Bedders 1971. England 5, Germany 1. The stuff of dreams, that one. If you went, I am so envious of you. But at the same time, I do have great memories of where I was, celebrating with great mates. Would I have it any different? Maybe. Now here's your chance to get involved. Drop me a line, email 3linespodcast@gmail.com or Twitter @3linespodcast. Tell me your first away game and all the little stories, anecdotes that comes with it, and we'll go about getting you on. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. And please, if you're on iTunes, if you find us on iTunes, do give us a thumbs up there, a nice review. Spread the love, because the more thumbs up and likes it gets, the more visible it becomes to people and they can find it. Now, we also have our other series on the go at the moment where we've been looking at England at the European Championships. Now, I know Euro 2020 has been moved to 2021, but I decided let's continue with the series. They're all in the can, as they say. And all previous episodes can be found at 3linespodcast.com. And we've got more to come. I'll be back soon with another episode where I'll be speaking with a fellow England fan. Until then, stay safe, look after yourself. Cheers.